But you see, it's difficult if you have children to do a thing like that, and I think that maybe was holding me back a little bit, because we always put our children first, don't we? You know, I mean, if Nicola needed a new pair of shoes and I needed a new pair of shoes, who was going to get the new shoes? Nicola, not me. And to be purely selfish about things is difficult. But it's important that we as individuals have our own dreams. And then Bill said, and some of you will remember, now get together and do a list for both of you. Write down the things that you would both like to have. Now, in the early days, when I looked at Pat's personal list, I was quite surprised, because at the top of the list he had written, buy a new suit. And I thought, well, that's not much, you know, a new suit. But it was really something that Pat wanted to have, because he only had one suit. He just had one suit to his name. And I guess, you know, we all get used to managing, don't we? I'll manage with this suit for a bit longer. It's not threadbare yet. It's still okay. I still look okay in it. You know, I'll manage. But why should we have to manage? Why should we have to manage? All people on this earth are special people. All people on this earth are special individuals. We have great unleashed potential. Why should we have to manage? Tell you what, I was so sick and tired of managing when we saw this business. And I was so sick and tired of seeing my family manage as well. You know, I honestly think that as children of God who don't make no junk, that we deserve better than to just have to manage. See, this business teaches us to strive for better things. And if you haven't made your own personal list yet, then go home and do it. I urge you to do that. Then make a list together. Find out what it is that you want, what it is that you totally and absolutely desire. But you know, it's amazing how those lists change as time goes on in the business. And one of the things I especially decided after a while should be on my list, apart from money, because you need money to get the things that you want to have anyway, was a car, and that car was a Fiat X19. Heard about Fiat X19? I mean, I'd been thinking about wanting one of these cars for a long time, so I put down this car, Fiat X19. And, you know, they are very nice cars, and I fancied myself in a red one. And I put a picture of a red Fiat X19 on my fridge. But the more our business started to grow, and the more tapes we listened to, and the more books we read, and the more functions we attended, I realised that I could have something a little different to a Fiat X19 if I wanted to. The sky was the limit. You know, I could have anything I dreamed of. But you know, it's not the type of car that impresses me anymore. It's knowing that whatever car I or Pat want to go out and buy, then we can do it in one payment. No HP, nothing. It's mine straight away. And that's the thing that really impresses me. You know, in the early days, we used to fake our upline out when they asked us what our dreams were. We'd pull something out of the blue, you know, anything that sprang to mind immediately, because we didn't really know what they were. And it was like a car, a house, yeah, a house, loads of clothes, a boat. Really, I think that they were things that we wanted. But they weren't clearly defined in our minds. They were kind of just floating around. And these are the things that a lot of people might want because they sound good. But it wasn't good enough. As we soon learned that if we were ever going to have these things, we had to clearly define them. We had to know what kind of house we wanted to buy, where it would be, how much ground it would have, what the setting would be like. what the entrance hall would be like, how many bedrooms it would have, what would be in the bedrooms, how many bookshelves would we have in our library, what kind of pictures would we hang on the wall. I don't think I'm going to... This picture behind me here, I'm sat out there and I'm thinking, just a minute, excuse me, I just want to look at this for a second. First of all, I thought, oh dear, they haven't seen the business. Then I looked again and I thought, yes, they have. They're queuing up for their tickets for the next function. It's a big picture, isn't it, now? We had to know what kind of car we wanted to drive, what colour that car would be. Would it have leather upholstery? What would the carpet be like in the car? Would it be bound around the edges with leather? The same colour as the seats, as the leather seats? How many miles an hour would it go? Not many as far as I'm concerned. But you know, fast car if you want one. I've took to the sky. There's no police cars up there. It's great. It's wonderful. We had to go along and sit in our dream car to see what it felt like, just to sit in it and to feel, you know, what it might be like to drive one. It's important to realise what we really want to have, and not what we would like to have, maybe. We realised it was important to have a burning desire and not just a wishy-washy want. We had to realise that we wanted them so badly that we had to make this business work to get them, because there was no alternative that would help us to get them. We realised we could have these things, but that this was the only business that could help us to get them. In the early days, we were afraid to verbalise our dreams because of what people might say. People outside the business, that is. Dream stealers. I warn you now to beware of them. As long as you're in this business and you believe that your dreams will come true as a result of building this business, then dream stealers just don't count. They do not exist, period, full stop. We have to ask ourselves, who are we going to listen to? People who achieved, or people who have achieved nothing? And that's exactly what a dream stealer is, somebody who has achieved absolutely nothing. Or are we going to listen to someone who is successful as a result of building this business and who can teach us to become successful as well? Who would you rather listen to? Someone who's a pessimist and says, that'll never happen? Or someone who's an optimist and says, yeah, you can do that. People in this business are optimistic, not pessimistic. We know some of you in this room today are new to the business, and we know ourselves from past experience it's all very well to come into and sit into a room like this with lovely people who are very positive and happy and smiling and, you know, to get carried away with it all. It's all very comfortable now to think, yes, we can do it. But tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, you could speak to someone about this business and they will tell you it won't work. And they will be dream stealers. They will try and steal your dream. Will you let them? Or will you be strong and think to yourselves, he's a dream stealer, or she's a dream stealer? Your opinions just don't count. I want more from life for my family and friends, and this business is the way I know I can get it. And I hope you think that. And I can remember we'd only been in the business a couple of months, and we were going out for a meal with 2 members of our family. And we had an old Ford Cortina And, the bottom hinge of the door was hanging off and it was rusty. I'm sure you may have heard about our cortina. Thank goodness we had it, because, we didn't want it no longer. We wanted something better. And these people had come to visit for the weekend, and we said, we'll take you out. I mean, we couldn't afford to take them out, but we said, we'll take you out. So off we went in the cortina. And on the way to the restaurant, there was what was then my dream home. And we had to pass by it to get to the restaurant. And this house is very nice. It didn't have much land, but it looked as though it had, because it backed onto a golf course. Now you just buy the golf course. And I said to the lady in the back of the car beside me, one day we're going to live in that house. And she looked across at me and she said, and pigs might fly. And for a split second I faltered. It was probably just a split second. I felt a fool for a split second, because there I was in the old rusty cortina, and there's this big house as I saw it then, and I'm going to live in it. Okay? But then I felt angry. And I thought to myself, yes, but to you, that's the lady sitting next to me, to you, seeing is believing. To me, believing is seeing. And I ain't ruled out seeing a pig fly yet. So remember, dream stealers don't count. Have a dream and believe that your dreams will come true. Have faith. Don't look at things as they are now, but look at things as they will be in the future. Remember Robert Kennedy's words. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? Have you noticed how easy it is for young children to dream? You see, they see no reason why they can't have things and become things. Nobody's got to them yet and stolen their dream, have they? But it can so easily happen. And this business is great for our children. I know you've heard me say this before, and Mandy and some of your other leaders. Why? Because they're brought up amongst positive people with good attitudes. People who tell them that they can and not that they can't. People who encourage them to strive for those better things. Some of you may not have children now. You may have in the future, but there will be some people in your group who will obviously have children. Some of you may have teenage children. Jeez. Nicola's a teenager. And she was, not long started school when we got in this business. She's so positive, it frightens me sometimes. She really is. But as parents, we have a responsibility to our children, don't we? Not only to provide for them, but to teach them the right principles to live by. To teach them to have good moral standards and to do things ethically. To teach them to love people and to use things and not the other way round. This business teaches all these things. And if we only stick with it, it helps us to help our children to understand, no matter what age they are. Nicola understands all about dream stealers. From an early age, she has had people say to her and heard people say, that this business will not work. Yeah, I know. But she's never doubted, because not only has she seen the belief and the faith Pat and I have, but also the belief and the faith that Jerry and Mandy Scriven have, and of course the other leaders in the business. Even though she remembers in horror the Ford Cortina that we used to break down in many times. We broke down in the mornings on our way to school, and we just used to have to sit there and wait for some kind man, to get out of his car and push us off the road. But she kept the faith. Something Bill always taught us. She kept the faith. You see, If we keep telling our children, this is only temporary. This is only temporary. And I like the words that Og Mandino uses in his books. This too shall pass. And I believe those are 4 very powerful words, because if you think about it, nothing ever, ever stays the same anyway. This too shall pass. And it's not long, before your children are turning around to you and saying, hey, Mum, this is only temporary. Hey, Dad, no problem, this is only temporary. Kind of rubs off on them, and they're a reflection of us, our children. This business not only gives us hope for a better future, but it gives them hope as well. Nicola has a great deal of respect for this business and the people in it. And she'll stick up for people in this business, and she'll stick by them. And there was an incident recently, and one of Nicola's friends told her that his parents were in the business. And she's fantastic, that's great, absolutely wonderful, best thing, wonderful. I'm so pleased. Who's your upline? And he said, Jerry and Mandy Scrivens. And he said, my parents think this is great, this business is great, but I'm not so sure about it. And Nicola said, Jerry and Mandy Scriven are, your parents' upline? That is absolutely fantastic. Do you realise Jerry and Mandy Scriven? Do you know Jerry and Mandy Scriven? Do you know who they are? Jerry, you've got the best. Jerry and Mandy Scriven. And he said, I don't see it working. He's pushing his luck by now. And she's relating this story to us, and he kept going on and on and on. Couldn't see it working. And she said, well, before much longer you'll see it work. She said, and by the way, it's Jerry and Mandy Scriven, not Jerry and Mandy Scrivens, and make sure you get it right the next time. And then she left. She walked away. But if our children listen to others like that, in a way, although the boy didn't know, it was a way of dream stealing, wasn't it? Back to Robert F. Kennedy's quote. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? And I'll ask you now, why not? Why not? Why not dare to dream? Why not dare to put your head above the clouds? Why not dare to stretch more than others will stretch? Why not dare to put your head above the others? Why not? Pat said earlier, anybody can build this business. It doesn't matter what colour we are. It doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter how big we are, how small we are. Anybody. And this is the wonderful thing about this business, isn't it? Anybody can build this business. We just have to have a dream. We just have to have a dream. There are fantastic rewards with this business as we build it. There's the holidays abroad, and there's the weekends away in London, and the theatre trips, and the nice thing is we don't go alone because we go with friends in this business. And they're our true friends, all of you and the people in this business. That's where we know our true friendships are, within this business. Because we know that our true friends will always be there for us, and that we'll always be together. Of course, there's money, there's big money. And when we have a never-ending supply of money, we can do good things with it. We can share it with others, with our families, with people who are less fortunate than ourselves, with our church. There's a lot of suffering in this world today, but we have to have vision. We have to look to the future. You see, we honestly believe that this business will change the world. It teaches people all over the world now good ethical principles, not only to build the business by, but to live by as well. And I honestly believe that, in time to come, and it may not be in my lifetime or Pat's, I don't know, that people, instead of killing each other, are going to be hugging each other. Because, how can you... How can you feel the way you do when you're in this business and not, pass it on to other people.